feels like rejection when you get laid off. It's redirection. When one door closes, I have found not only a window opens, but 1,000 windows open. And at the end of the day, they just couldn't afford you. You did everything right, and now you're out on the street, as they say. And what's crazy is when you look at the stats now, the longevity of a job is 3 years and 9 months on average across all industries in America. So maybe it's not you, maybe it's the job.
So if this has happened to you, I want you to hear us clearly. You did nothing wrong. The system failed you. Process, reflect, and ask better questions. Instead of what's my next job, it's what could this be? If that's where you're at right now, uncertain, shaken, a little curious, then this conversation is absolutely for you.
This podcast is for the rebels,
The misfits, the dreamers.
who really are sick of living on autopilot.
Every week, we strip away the excuses, we break the rules, we give you bold, actionable strategies.
So you can crush your habits that hold you back,
Ditch the job you hate.
build a life that you actually want to wake up to.
No fluff,
No permission slips
just real talk, proven tools, and a healthy dose of rebellion.
to help you break free and rise higher and own your next chapter.
This isn't just a podcast, it's an escape plan.
If you are sick of just following status quo, you have just found your people.
Welcome to the 3 Seconds of Guts. We are so excited to have you here today. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what we like to call redirection is protection. What that means is there are a lot of wonderful people out in the world going through layoffs right now. And I want to share something for you. So before we get in and talk about layoffs, I want to talk about how it actually feels. Because when this happens, it's not just a job loss. It's a gut hunch. It's that email you didn't expect. It's the calendar invite with no contacts. It's losing your schedule and your routine overnight. What makes that harder is that most of the people going through this, they did everything right. They worked hard. They were loyal. They worked evenings, weekends, and they showed up. So if this has happened to you, I want you to hear us clearly. You did nothing wrong. The system failed you. That shock, fear, grief, embarrassment, everything that you're feeling right now, that's normal. Your routine, your confidence, your sense of safety, this has all changed. And then you're expected to bounce back before you've even had time to breathe. Go out there, get another job. Slow down a second. We want to slow it down. We don't want you to panic or rush into the next thing. We want you to be able to create space. That's what we're here for you to do today, is to process, reflect, and ask better questions. Instead of what's my next job, it's what could this be? What could be next for me? What do I really want? If that's where you're at right now, uncertain, shaken, a little curious, then this conversation is absolutely for you.
Well, I think that, it's really, it's not rejection. It feels like rejection when you get laid off. It's redirection.
It's redone.
And when one door opens, I have found when one door closes, I have found not only a window opens, but 1,000 windows open. And at the end of the day, they just couldn't afford you. That's really what it comes down to. They couldn't afford you. You did everything right. And now you're out on the street, as they say. And what's crazy is when you look at the stats now, it's only every job, the longevity of a job is 3 years and 9 months on average across all industries in America.
No.
That
Really?
is it. That is it, according to Pew Research. And also in Pew Research, in their doc, they said that it's not more than 2 months after you get a new job that you start looking for another new job. So maybe it's not you, maybe it's the job, maybe it's
The system. Maybe the system's broken.
the
What is
corporate.
loyalty to corporate America now? You're talking to two people who we help people all day long and have for over 20 years. So we may be a little bit jaded of watching these great people give everything they have to corporate America, only for the holidays to roll around and they become a name on a spreadsheet. The downsizing and taking away the, different layoffs. I mean, there's people that go through this, Tom. I didn't know this, but there's certain industries where they know cuts are always made in November and December. So every single year they worry around Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Right.
Isn't that heartbreaking? And it doesn't have to be that way.
But if you feel like you're sitting there, you're listening, and you're like, I want control. I don't want to ask for permission. I don't want to be in this position again of getting laid off. Exploring franchising is not reckless. It's just opening a door to see if it's really something for you. And the
Yeah.
cool thing is that if you come out of corporate America, you've already managed people, managed budgets, P&L, sales targets, deadlines. You already have the DNA. It's already there. That's what great franchise companies are looking for, are people with 10 or 20 years corporate American experience that you could translate into your own business and build something. The best part is you get to keep the results.
There's no ceiling. You're in
There's
control. Do you want more money? Do you want more time? Do you want more flexibility? Do you want to see your kids? Do you want to get off the road? What do you want? This is an opportunity. We want you guys, if you're in this situation, to press pause and start asking questions of what would I love? What would I really want? Because a lot of times in our career, we start getting told what to do. And, nothing wrong with that. That is, having a job. You're trading your time and control for a paycheck and security. But sometimes it becomes that we almost forget who we are, what we truly want. And you have to create a space to really start thinking that through. Because I guarantee you, once you start realizing maybe there is something else out there for me, you take one small little step. And as Tom said, all these doors are going to start opening for you, whether it's a franchise or something else.
right. And it doesn't may not be a franchise. If you take time and study business, one of the results of that study might be that you're not for franchising, or franchising is not for you. And that's great. You made that decision based on facts, not on emotion, not on fear, but on facts. And then, okay, now you close that door and you go open another door. And so it's all there for you. It's all in your control. And franchise companies are dying for people like you. That's the cool thing. They will be fighting over you if you're a really good corporate person that happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and got laid off or downsized or right sized or whatever the heck they call it now.
Right. All the reorgs and everything happening. So 20 some years of us doing this, I've always called it, and I think Tom has a different word. I call it a nudge. I believe that people outgrow their circumstances and they're meant for more, but we get comfortable. Nothing wrong with that, right? And we feel loyal, and we're all taught this, way that is probably our parents or grandparents' way of you get a good job and you stick with it for however many years and then you retire with your gold watch. Hey, newsflash, that's not our world anymore today. Corporate America doesn't reward loyalty, and people aren't doing that any longer, right? They're starting to make changes. And so what happens is you outgrow your circumstances. This is just a nudge. It's not the end. It's a nudge because there is something on the other side waiting for you, something better, something where your dreams can come true. And you just have to start taking small little bits of action, and it's going to find you.
And that's all it is taking a step, taking some action. It doesn't have to be massive action. You don't need to go and, start something that you always wanted to start since you were a kid. But it may be just taking a class, reaching out to a SCORE member, the retired people that teach people about business. I mean, there's different ways to go about it, and it's free. And of course, there's this thing called the internet. You could do a lot of research, and you could take classes. Um, you could go to Melissa's website, Franchiseologist. There's so much data that we have that can help you just learn about yourself.
Tell
It's
them
not
about your book. Just the name of your book, or at least one of your books, your first
so.
one.
The first one is The Magic of Choosing Uncertainty: How to Manage Change, Embrace Fear, and Live a Fulfilled Life. And in that book, which I am ready to do a second version now, it's really about taking that chance, taking that risk. You have nothing to lose. It's really, um, as you get older, like me, you start to realize, like, man, there's so much more to life than playing it safe. You want to be able to play to win, not play to not lose. So you want to play to win. And we recently, you might have heard the podcast with Jeff Elgin. And the thing that I took away from his talk, and I've heard him talk 3 times about going to space, he said that after going through this whole thing that he was planning like for 50 years to go to space, he'd been on his gold sheet. He realized he doesn't dream big enough. That has stuck with me every single day since I spoke to him or we heard
That's funny.
him.
Me too. Me too. And so something Tom and I have been doing, and we just did this together last week with a few of our other colleagues, is we started thinking about decade-long planning. I mean, what a great idea. And Jeff told us about that, 7 years ago? And unfortunately, I never did anything about it. But, I am now. It's better today. If you didn't plant the tree 20 years ago, then plant it today. So we're planting it. And we're doing our decade-long planning. We're thinking through not just yearly goals, because we're really good about that, but our decade planning and then our bucket list. Because that's what hit me about Jeff was, go big or go home. I mean, dream bigger. What I've noticed is that's really fun, because when you start to really think through, what am I here for? What could be out there? What are some experiences that fuel my soul? That's fun, right? Why would we not do that?
Yeah. I just think that we play too small. I know I do. And now with this idea that Jeff gave us, and it's so crazy because he had this on a video for our group. And the video he did in 2019, he said, in passing, one of my goals is to go to space.
Yeah, I
And
know.
then fast forward 7 years later, it was actually almost 7 years later, he did it.
I
Like,
know.
holy cow.
And
Like,
he
I
had
just
had
can't do it.
that on there a long time. He didn't give up. But for us to see it and to know he actually did it after he had been on his goals. And that's the other thing I'll tell you is if you're at this place of uncertainty in your life or just chaos, or maybe you haven't been through a layoff, maybe you're just sick and tired of corporate America, or like, is this all there is out there? Could there be something else? Yes. Yes, there's something else. And maybe it's franchising and maybe it's not. But I want to say, start thinking about what do you want your life to look like 3 to 5 years from now? Because the decisions you make today are going to affect you 3 to 5 years in the future. So that, I believe, is a really nice exercise instead of saying, what job and what does it look like and what's my routine and all that of right now. It's kind of stressful. Start thinking through, what do I want to be doing in 3 to 5 years? What do I want my day and my schedule and my time and the money coming in? What do I want that to look like? What kind
No,
of
I
a
got
person am I?
Mel, I gotta say something that I'll be like a little vulnerable here. I made that change from having a government job that was totally secure to owning my own franchise. And, what happened for me is, I loved working for the New York City subway. I was a subway conductor. I was 23 at the time, so like 40 years ago. And it was just a great, cool job in New York City, right? You're working in the belly of the beast. And one day, an old timer said to me, kid, this is a great job because you always have a shirt on your back. He said, you'll never have a silk shirt, but at least you'll have a shirt. And I was like,
Mm.
whoa, that's like mediocrity, man. Like who's wearing silk shirts, right? Looked at my bosses who I love. Some people I actually still talk to from back then. Love those people, but they were not living the lifestyle I wanted to live. They were not wearing the metaphorical silk shirts. Who was business owners?
Mm.
And I realized in that moment, I want to be a business owner. From there, it took 13 years for me to become a business owner.
Wow, that's
So I
cool.
read books, I went to seminars, I talked to people, and then one thing led to another, and ended up hooking up with a franchise consultant who matched me to something called Maui Wowie Smoothies, where I met Melissa back in 2002 or something like that. Um, And now look, fast forward another, 25 years and we're hanging out doing a podcast together. Like,
Absolutely. You never know. You never know what's out there. And what's great, and I'm going to just pitch franchising here because obviously we're very passionate about the franchise industry. And it's a great way to be your own boss and be in business for yourself, but not by yourself because you have the support and the training and in the support system. But if this is a path for you that you want to look into, what I find that people tell me surprises them is when they start getting into the franchise, they start finding their people. right? Because there's some people in corporate America and they look around and they're like, these are my people, right? Where are my people at, right? Because it's not the same thinking. Maybe they want to think out of the box. Maybe they want more. Maybe they don't want the 2% raise every year. And then they get involved in franchising, and there's all these other, like-minded, big picture thinkers, people that will take risks, but not big risks, right? Take conservative risks. And there's other ways of investing their money and their time. And they start to realize, I found my people. And that's a lot of what franchising is. And look what it's done for us.
Right. And it's so true. I mean, I'll tell you that, you have to have faith. That's another word for uncertainty, is faith. And so for myself, it was taking little steps, right? So I'm talking to a franchise consultant. She matches me to this smoothie concept, and I'm studying it. I'm doing the due diligence. And I remember clearly sitting in my car in the parking lot of Fleet Bank before it was Bank of America. So going way back. And I was like literally praying to God. And I said, God, if you want me to have this franchise, you'll get me a loan. And so I walk into Fleet Bank and I meet this lady, Llewellyn, who became a friend of mine. And I said, I want a loan. I want a business loan. Lo and behold, 5 business days later, I had $100,000. And that's what I needed to start the business. That's the other thing that I want to share real quickly, is that a lot of people are like, oh, I would love to buy a business, but a franchise, but it's $1 million. A really great franchise that I would recommend to my own family costs the same as a high-end luxury vehicle. They're not in the millions.
Not everything is $1 million. Not everything is McDonald's. I mean,
No.
we are here to help you if this is a path that you want to explore, because we've been doing this a long time. And having someone by your side is really helpful for a lot of people, because the research can be really overwhelming. And how do I ask the right questions, and make sure I don't miss anything? And we help you through the whole process, not just matching you to the franchises, but the education and the research process. And it's a free service because the franchise companies pay our fee. And we are here whether it's for you or not for you. That is one thing that we take very seriously. There's no right path. It's either right for you or not right for you. We're still your friends no matter what.
Right.
Tom?
I just want to say, if you have a conversation with Melissa or I, one of 3 things happen if you're thinking about franchising. One is you figure out franchising is not for you. And that's cool. We shake hands, as Mel said. We're still friends, not a big deal. We'll send you a Christmas card every year, not a big deal. The second thing that can happen is that we might say to you, hey, you know what? Franchising is not for you. For whatever reason, it's not for everybody. And that's cool. And you have to be okay with hearing that if you did talk to us. And the third thing that you might hear is like, here's the perfect franchise for you. And then it's your job, you and your spouse, to decide, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to take the
That's
chance.
right. There's
We're gonna-
always something that when you start taking the path to finding something more in your life, the doors are going to open for you. And that's really our message, is we want you to have 3 seconds of guts to do something that scares you, maybe an opportunity you've always wanted, maybe a dream you've always thought about. Write it down, start to plan for it, start to think from that person, and start to watch the doors open. It takes a bit of belief and faith and action. It's kind of your magical potion, if you will.
That is the formula. That is the formula. And you were about to say something, and I cut you off with my.
So tell me a little bit. One thing I wanted to bring up is kind of the feeling of rock bottom. Let's pretend somebody has lost their job and they're at a place where they're like, I don't know, why did this happen to me? And they feel really just unhappy or hurt, or all the emotions of going through losing their job. What's something that we could give them? What kind of advice could we give them?
Well, one thing is we have empathy for folks because we've been doing this for over 20 years. And I will tell you, if you've gotten laid off, you know this. If you haven't ever gotten laid off, it's like a death in the family. You go through all the stages of mourning. There's disbelief, there's blaming, there's anger. Like, this all happens.
It's
Right.
yeah.
But once you clear all that, then you start to realize, there's a plan in the universe that's bigger than you.
Hmm.
And you never have to worry. You already won. You are enough. right? It's just they couldn't afford you.
Yeah.
And
For more.
so
There's a mantra I've used in my life anytime I've made big changes, and I did it when I was 22 years old, moving to Chicago, scared out of my mind. And I started thinking, I got to replace all this negative self talk I've got here. So I started saying bigger and better things. And I still use that. Anytime I get scared, take a breath and just say, I'm doing this because there's bigger and better things out there. And I believe so. There's this whole thing about hitting rock bottom. You guys have probably heard that, right? Like whether it's a job or it's, drinking or whatever, it's like there's this point that we hit rock bottom. There's a beauty in that because I don't believe it's rock bottom. I believe it's a place to wake us up. And there's a beauty of us kind of giving up. And I love what you say of kind of going through the emotions of grief and feeling that because that's true. Then there's a point of kind of acceptance. And then that is what I call the slingshot moment. It's not rock bottom to me. If you take this for what it's meant to teach you a lesson, you got to go backwards with the slingshot, right? You got to pull back so you can fly forward. And that's what I really believe. When people do the right things for themselves, it's a slingshot. So if you're at one of those places that you're just like, oh, well, this stuff's going wrong in my life, take a second and see yourself as a slingshot. Because if you do that and you let yourself go down a little bit, it's just so that you can fly forward. That's your
so
next
you
step.
might be in a job and not laid off, and you're afraid to give it up because hey, you got to pay the bills, and they're giving you a paycheck, but it's just eating your soul from the inside out. And every day there's a low hum of frustration in your life.
Mm,
And sometimes you're like, I know people like they get home from work, the first thing they got to do is pop open a beer just to take the edge off.
yep.
And then it becomes two beers, and you end up really in this downward spiral. The thing is you could change it, and you could stay in the job and they might promote you. But if you do what Melissa said and get into something of your own, it'll catapult you.
Oh,
That is what choosing uncertainty will do for you.
it's the same idea. And we've seen it for 20 plus years. We've been in it ourselves. I mean, both of us worked corporate jobs and realized this isn't for us. There's got to be something more. There's got to be something better out there. And the only way you find out is by starting to ask questions, take action, read something, do some research, ask a friend of yours who has the job you want or is in the industry or is a business owner. You start pushing that forward because what really becomes beautiful as a business owner or franchise owner is when you realize what you're worth and then you start realizing that I can have all of that time, money, freedom, all of it can be out there once you realize you're worth it.
And just to wind this up here is, you know, what corporate America does for people. It sells them a whole truckload of hopium that keeps their workers hoping that there's going to be a better tomorrow, and it never gets better. And then you get laid off. You're like, I was hoping there was going to be something better out there, and it never happens. So you have to take control of your own destiny, and it's scary. We're not saying it's easy. It's the hardest thing you'll do, but if you do it, your self-satisfaction, your career satisfaction will never be the same. It'll be awesome.
It's also the best thing you could ever do because I know right now, Tom and I would absolutely say we are unemployable. And I mean that in a good way. Like you couldn't pay me enough money to go and work for someone who has their finger on me. It's just not in my DNA anymore. 22 years of being a business owner, I can't imagine someone telling me what time to get to work, what to wear, where I'm going to live, what I'm doing. The beauty of becoming who you are meant to be. I always say business is an inside game. If you
Mm.
want to really know who you are, start a business because that's going to make you really look in the mirror and it's going to help you get better in absolutely every aspect of your life. Guaranteed.
It makes you a better person. It really, really does, because you can't get into a business. And I just read this from our friend Kim Daly, who has a great, great platform on teaching people how to think. Um, and she
She's
said,
helped me
yeah,
tremendously over the past year.
yeah, and me too. And it's just, you got to become a different person. You can't become a franchise owner and still bring all your other trash with you from your job. You're not an employee anymore. You're not signing the back of the paycheck. You're now signing the front of the paycheck. That comes with responsibility.
It's an
To be a
identity
first,
shift.
right? You have to shift, and you have to become a different person. You got to become more, and you got to be rich in your mind before you're rich in your wallet.
100%. You go from permission to ownership. You go from trading time for money to creating your own. And that's hard. That's hard in the first year. And that's another thing that Tom and I do is once we place franchisees, we're still talking to them, especially year one, and coaching them, giving them a reality check. Like year one's a lot, but it's a great a lot. I mean, you really get to know yourself and you're really kind of in this boot camp, but it's amazing because now you call the shots. You are in control. You're not trading your time for money. You're making money without your time. So all your dreams can come true when you believe in your value, your worth, and you start taking the first step to do it. And we absolutely would love to help you if this is a path that intrigues you. And we promise to take great care of you.
Absolutely. And you can reach us on LinkedIn, Melissa Lewis, or me, Tom Scarda. We have websites. So check it all out. We'll put it in the show notes, and you can have a conversation with us. And there's never a charge anyway. So it's crazy not to have a conversation, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So,
If the time's not right now, we'll give you books to read or articles to read, or we'll follow up with you in the future. But if there's a spark, if this like created some kind of entrepreneurial spark in you, we are here to help you guys because we want you to create your lives and to be who you are and what you're meant for. And that's our mission. That's our purpose.
amen to that. Well, this has been great. Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Tom.
There's a lot more coming. Thank you, Mel. We got so many more episodes coming out. Please subscribe, share it with your friends. If you know anybody who's gotten laid off, share this episode with them.
We are
They'll
here to
thank you
help.
for it, I think.
Absolutely.
Hope they will.
Thank you guys. Please continue to like and share and subscribe. We want to get this out there. This has been life-changing for us, and we are so happy to be here as a resource for you guys.